Hi, Heather here, Raven Hayes Healing and Divination. Today, let's talk about setting up a basic ancestor altar. We talked a lot lately about communicating with our ancestors, listening to those signs that they have for us, and basically opening up that line of communication with them so that we can have a better spiritual relationship. So let's talk about the basics, okay? The very first thing you want to have on your altar would be a candle, and that would be a white candle. White is traditional for the ancestor altar. You can use one like this, or you can use the 7-day candles that come in all white. All right. You also may want to have a glass of water. In a clear glass, water is a conduit for energy. Water is a conduit for spirit. So some traditions ask that you have 7 glasses of water. However, if that's not your path, then 1 glass will suffice, 1 glass of water. You may choose to have a white altar cloth on your altar, white being the traditional color, of course. And you can also add some white flowers. However, if you're going to add white flowers, make sure that they aren't left on the altar to die. We don't want dead flowers on the altar. Now, what's also traditional and makes it an ancestor altar is to have photos of your ancestors. So if you've got some photos of your ancestors, throw those in a frame and you want to put those on your altar. If you don't have photos, you can write their name on a nice piece of paper and frame that as well. Now, when you've got your ancestor altar set up, you can add over time some things that they liked, things that they enjoyed in life. So, for example, I have a cigarette here because many of my ancestors like to smoke. You can add things like cigars, anything that you think that they liked. If your aunt was big on sewing, you may want to add something that is symbolic for the sewing that she enjoyed very much, okay? And you add those things over time. Now, you may also choose to add things from the 4 elements, the 4 elements being earth, air, water, and fire. Now, we've got the fire element when we have our candle there, and we've got the water element when we have our glass of water. So, adding some incense, we'll add in the air element. And there's a few different ways that you can add the earth element. Many people will put a small house plant on their altar to add in the earth element. And that can also kind of signify the family tree, right? You can add crystals or stones for the earth element. So I've got some geodes here. You can also, if you have an urn with your ancestors' ashes in it, you may want to add in an urn on the altar. Or if you don't have access to that and you do have access to their grave site, you can go and collect some graveyard dirt and add some of their graveyard dirt to your altar by putting it in a nice container next to your candle. Okay? Now, when you've got your altar set up, it's going to be important that you spend at least 15 minutes each day in meditation, honoring them, talking to them, and meditating in front of your altar. You'll want to change the water at least once a week, okay? And make sure that it's nice and clean. Make sure it's kept free from clutter. You want it to be nice and clean, okay? The other thing you may choose to do is to add in some offerings every day or every week or at set intervals. And those can be anything, any kind of food offerings, just as though your ancestors, if they were living, they would come to your home and maybe have a meal with you. You can leave some food offering for them. And then just like if they were living, they would then be done with their meal and you would dispose of the remains, correct? So the other thing that's traditional to offer is alcohol. So if you have a little shot type glasses like these, you can add and leave some alcohol for them. All right. Now, if you're going to go even further and want to leave offerings for them, you can also purchase ancestor money, which is also known as hell money. This has the Jade Emperor on it, who was said to be the ruler at one time over all the world's money. And this is made from joss paper. And so what you do is you just take these and you can burn them, daily or weekly on your altar. Okay, it is said to help them on the other side and kind of release any karmic debt that they may have had. So that is the basic setup for an ancestor altar. I hope that you find that helpful and you can kind of start your journey with honoring them and opening up those lines of communication with the spirit realm. And if you have any questions, throw them in the comments below and I will be sure to answer them. Also, please click like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.